Do you struggle with eating a nutritious diet? Find out how to change that on this episode of Inspire Iredell.
Welcome to Inspire Iredell. I'm Megan.
I'm Anna.
We are so glad to have you with us today. Today we are going to be talking to Michele Privott, who's been a registered dietitian for over 35 years. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you love any and all exercise, we've been told, especially snow skiing.
Yes.
Plus you're an avid sports watcher. Football, basketball, golf, soccer, and you're usually can be found on the soccer field. We've been told anywhere from Asheville to Wilmington watching your youngest play soccer. So I'm a soccer mom myself, so I totally understand that.
Yes.
So the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recognizes March as National Nutrition Month. So that's why you're here.
That's
Lots
why
of
I'm
fun
here.
things to talk about.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so we ask everybody this, but I always love hearing the stories. What inspired you to be a dietitian?
So I always knew I wanted to go into healthcare, but I was thinking more of the lines of like PT or OT. But then I went to University of Dayton, which is primarily an engineering school.
Oh.
So things were a little,
Yeah.
a
Are
little.
you from Ohio?
I'm from Wheeling, West Virginia.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's like right there.
So it took me about 4 hours to get to Dayton. So,
Okay.
So limited. And I thought, well, so my first semester of my sophomore year, I took a cultural foods lab, which was a cooking class. It lasted like 3 hours.
That's like my speed.
It was neat.
that.
Now, it wasn't just cooking because we learned the science behind cooking and baking.
Yeah.
So we took the 3-hour lab, and then at the end, we got to sample what everyone made. So I love that.
Yeah.
and it was great. And but the professor of the lab, she was the advisor for dietetics, and I loved her. So sophomore year, that's how I chose to declare a major in food and nutrition.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
So that professor made all the
Oh,
difference,
she did.
too.
She did.
That's great. See, teachers, you never know the impact you make.
That's right.
That's right.
I can't even count on two hands the amount of stories I've had where it was a teacher or just a mentor that has inspired someone's entire career path.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's true. Very true.
That's all. Okay, so you learned how to cook in college, kind of.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it was every week for 3 hours. So
Do you like to cook now?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So, I mean, and we'll kind of get into that, all about meal planning and meal prep.
Fantastic, because
Yes.
I need it.
I need somebody to do it for me.
That's part of it, too. Our time constraints.
Yes.
So why is National Nutrition Month important? Why is awareness important?
So it's sponsored, so National Nutrition Month, I'll give you a little backstory on it.
yeah.
It started in 1973, and it was only a week long.
Okay.
But then as interest grew in nutrition, by 1980, it became National Nutrition Month.
Oh,
So it's sponsored by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and their main role is to emphasize nutrition and its role in overall health and well-being. So every year there's a theme, and this year it's Food Connects Us. So food connects us to our families, our community, and our cultures, and they're promoting that all while promoting healthy eating habits.
Okay.
So.
I love that.
That's neat.
The Academy plays a pivotal role in emphasizing nutrition. So it's really a nutrition and education campaign.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Makes sense.
Food connects us. That's
That's
cool.
the theme this year.
There's a really neat nonprofit in Iredell and kind of surrounding counties. Have you heard of Food Diversity?
Oh no, I have not.
So a woman started it because her son has pretty severe allergies.
Okay.
And it's all about giving people access to foods they can eat. So I'm thinking
Interesting.
like Food Connects Us, connecting
yeah, no,
people
that's
to...
that's all part of it.
Very cool.
I like that. Food diversity, and it's in Statesville.
It is, yeah. And
I'll look
Mooresville
into
too.
that.
So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look into
So,
that.
Michele, what are some of the barriers that people face, when having a balanced diet? This is, everybody, this episode is just for me. So, I mean, it's a struggle, right? I know that, like, I go to the grocery store, I like grocery delivery, but still, when I'm doing my grocery shopping, however that might be, I'm the type of person that'll be like, ooh, that looks good, and that looks good. In fact, my daughter and I were at the store the other day, and we were grabbing things, and I was like, this is why we don't grocery shop when we're hungry.
Yes.
We hadn't had lunch yet.
Right.
But we're busy and there's just so much going on. Honestly, even if you're not busy, sometimes people they don't like to cook or they don't like the way healthy foods taste. That's me.
Well, also, you get home and, like you were saying, you go to the grocery store hungry, and you get home and you're like, what am I going to do with this box of chocolates and this can of baking soda? Like, how am I going to make anything? I didn't plan for that.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
That would be called brownies. But anyway.
Yeah, true.
What's the key to achieving that balanced diet and, the barriers people face? How do we overcome them? That's a loaded question.
Right. So what I hear most often is, I don't have time to cook.
Okay.
And then my response is, healthy eating is not quick and easy. And and I hate to break it to you, but it takes time. And it takes a lot of time. It's not going to a fast food drive-through, ordering your food, grabbing the bag, and eating that food on the way home. It doesn't even make it to the table. So I tell patients, let's find a day that you have a little more time. It might be a Saturday, it might be a Sunday.
Okay.
And you sit down and you plan your menus. Google your recipes. That's where you can start. And you can put in your browser if you want. If you're looking for Mediterranean, if you're looking for high protein, if you're looking for kid-friendly, low sodium, heart health, put that in. You'll get a plethora of recipes. Figure out which ones you like, and then you make your grocery list from those menus and recipes. Head to the grocery store. You're looking at your list. You're picking out everything that you're going to make for that
Only buy
week.
what's on your list.
Pretty much.
Challenging.
Avoid the cookies.
And then you come home with those groceries and you start to prep. See, we're doing anything and everything we can to streamline our week.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to take out a lot of the stress of, it's Tuesday. I'm like, what am I going to make? Well, we already planned it.
Right.
So by prep, and let me back up. Kitchen essentials, a must. And this might sound simple, but I've had patients say they didn't know what a colander was. So our kitchen essentials, pots and pans and baking sheets and measuring cups and measuring spoons, casserole dishes, mixing bowls, cutting boards, a good set of knives, containers with lids, Ziploc bags, a colander. That's where we have to
So
start.
basically, you're giving us permission to go on a little mini kitchen shopping spree.
You can
That's what I hear.
If your
Your kitchen
kitchen is
doesn't
not
have those
stocked,
things,
right?
right?
I
What's
mean,
nice, though, is you can get a lot of those items at the Dollar Tree.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They don't have to be expensive, right?
Right.
Certainly,
I
I'm
would
sure
do-
they have.
Yeah.
They range, right?
Right.
Like a knife set, right?
and now if I'm going to spend money, it would be
on the knives,
Get the nice knives, get
Yes.
the dollar store measuring cups.
yes, exactly,
There you go.
and measuring spoons,
Yeah.
even mixing bowls.
Yeah.
But so you get home and you prep, and that's washing, dicing, peeling, slicing, cubing, grilling. You streamlined. So then when it's Tuesday night, I already grilled up my chicken breast. That's, I'm going to recreate it to a chicken quesadilla, or I'm going to top a salad, or I'm going to, make it into a soup. Or you can do batch cooking where you've made your casserole or your soup or your stew and you portion it out and freeze it for later.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
And that's a game changer for busy nights.
yeah.
So
Okay.
it's planning.
So- There are going to be times, obviously, where fast food is maybe the only option, right? We talk about being on the soccer field, right? And
Right.
sometimes there's just nothing you can do. So if you do have to go to a fast food place, what should you look at? Because I think sometimes people fall into this, if as long as I get the salad, then it's healthy. But I don't know that all salads are created equal, right?
No.
So, any recommendations for, is it choosing the grilled chicken over the crispy chicken sort of
Sure.
thing in places? Or maybe choosing a salad instead of a burger? Any recommendations for that sort of thing?
Yes.
Or just really plan ahead and pack a lunch or dinner?
So for busy nights for moms, if they're going, we've got dance or we've got soccer or whatever. But again, it goes back to prepping. So always have some grab and go options available, like your pre-cut fruits and vegetables, maybe some yogurt parfaits. Maybe you've made some homemade no-bake energy bites where you can customize your add-ons, like your little mini chocolate chips or your raisins or nuts or nut butters. Have some 100-calorie nut packs on hand. Have your reusable water bottles, and you can even buy the cheddar cheese snack squares.
Right.
You know, just it is all about preparation.
Okay.
Preparation.
So most of us know when we're going to have a busy night. So make sure you prep.
Everyone has a calendar.
Right.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
Maybe, pack some of those things, the pre-cut fruits and vegetables, nuts and things, and maybe fill up on most of the things that are good for you. And if you have to stop and get something,
Exactly.
you're not filling up on things that aren't.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
right. So if we, so we don't have to rely so heavily on the ultra processed drinks and foods. Choose those things I just mentioned, and they might actually satisfy your hunger.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like have them ready, have them in your car. And then if you do have to stop, well, maybe you're not going to overindulge so
Right.
much.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
I get you
same.
every time.
Same. I'm like, do you want to increase the size of those French fries? Well, yes, I do.
Sure.
I do, actually.
You don't have to ask.
Which, so cost is another one I hear as a barrier to a balanced diet.
Yeah.
So everyone says, oh, it costs too much to eat healthy. Well, I mean, let's face it, groceries are expensive.
Right.
But let's do a comparison. So last week, Food Line had a 5-pound bag of Yukon Gold potatoes. 5-pound bag, $2.99.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a good price.
Good
That
deal.
can feed up to 10 people.
Yeah.
A bag of party-sized Doritos, those are $5.99. Okay.
Okay.
So Food Line also had a 3-pound bag of navel oranges on sale for $3.99. A 12-pack of Pepsi on sale was $6.99. Not on sale is $9.99.
Wow.
So when people say that, how do I overcome costs? Well, we shop sales. We can shop the BOGOs, the buy one, get ones. We can buy store brands. They're generally cheaper. We can shop seasonally. Like, watermelon is not in season right now, and you're going to pay $5 for a little container. So shop seasonally. There's nothing wrong with canned vegetables and canned beans. Okay. They're all in no added salt and low sodium now. You can get a can of beans, Food Line brand from 89 cents to a store brand for $1.25.
Frozen too, right? Frozen's pretty good.
Frozen fruits and vegetables are perfectly fine.
Awesome.
They'll
Okay.
last longer too. Again, buy the store brands; they're cheaper.
That's good to know. I wasn't sure if the nutrition content was different with fresh versus the...
Sometimes we don't know how long they've been sitting on the shelves and been shipped in from here, there, and
Yeah,
everywhere.
right.
When we're in
Yeah.
the produce aisle. Nothing wrong with frozen fruits and vegetables.
Okay, that's
Again,
good
they'll
to know.
keep in your freezer a whole lot longer.
Right.
So-
And like you said, more cost effective usually too,
Yeah.
because they were picked when they were in season.
Right. And
So-
you're always going to find a sale in the frozen foods.
I've heard that saying where it's best to shop on the outside of the grocery store. Is that true?
It's fine. But they say perimeter now. But like I said, with canned goods, you're still a couple aisles in, and I see
Yeah.
nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. When you think perimeter, like, well, you go past the produce, but then you've got the deli, and then you've got the dairy.
The bakery.
Yeah, you're
That's true.
passing
So
by
the
the
perimeter's
bakery.
not
Like,
always the
well-
best bet. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
My mind goes
perimeter
to
is
the
only the
bakery.
bakery.
I know, but you're right.
I'm
Bakery,
like,
deli.
Oh, I'm shopping for the perimeter. Yeah. Surely these croissants and donuts are just
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
Like, yes. Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So we talked about cost and we talked about time. Is there anything else that's a barrier? I know that allergens sometimes are as well.
Yes, and luckily things are labeled
Yeah.
now. I mean,
It's a lot easier.
Yeah,
than it used
it
to be.
is. Yeah, and even like gluten free, there are a lot more options than there used to be. So
There are. My husband is gluten free, so
Oh,
we have
okay.
to shop gluten free. But, whenever we buy the fun things like the gluten free toaster pastries and the gluten free brownie
cookie
mixes,
mix,
those are very expensive. But if we make things like meat, potatoes, and a vegetable,
Right.
that's not really all that
Right.
expensive,
Right.
and it's gluten-free.
Yes.
So,
And brings me back to cost again. It costs too much to eat healthy. The average price of a fast food meal, $7 to $17.
Yeah.
it does vary.
I can't tell you how
A
many
meal.
times I've been like, okay, I'm just gonna get fast food for myself, and I'm using an app, and then I'm like, I'm not paying that much money. Like, whatever, I'll just find something to do at home. Like, so,
But-
it does add up.
And again, it's one meal. Where, like we talked about the bag of potatoes, that can feed up to 10 people. You're going to repurpose that bag of potatoes.
Oh, for
It's not
sure.
just going to be one meal. So
One of my favorite things about potatoes is that there is a potato for every occasion.
Yes.
Yeah, barbecue, chips. Fancy dinner, baked potato. Fast food, French fries.
Yes, that's true.
never thought of it that way, Anna. You're right.
Yeah.
So, talking about specific types of foods. So, when you think about your nutrition, we talk about potatoes, right? And I know sometimes people would be like, "Oh, potatoes, like those probably aren't great for you." You know, how do you know? I mean, I think we know in general fruits and veggies are good to have. You know, I mean, we used to have the food pyramid, and it's changed over the years and that sort of thing. So, when you're trying to have a balanced diet, you know, I mean, are you just looking at calorie content? Or are you just, I mean, how do you know? Like, what do you choose?
Well, and it depends on what your goal is. Are you just looking for overall health? Are you looking for weight loss? If you're looking for weight loss, then maybe then we're going to look at calories and, because hummus is great, but, a tablespoon or two is a serving, not the whole container. And it's great for you. So,
See, that's the pit I think I fall into and other people fall into too, because I would be like, oh, hummus, I can eat this.
Right.
It's healthy and be fine.
Right.
Not thinking about that. I know sometimes people talk about peanut butter as being a good source of protein, but and I don't know if that's true or not, but I know it's very high in calories.
Well, and we
depending on
wanna
what you,
and
which one you have.
And I say it all the time, every Tuesday and Wednesday, we choose a natural nut butter. Yes, I know everyone likes the Skippy and the Jif and the Peter Pan, but the extra sugar, the hydrogenated fat, or a palm oil, more salt that they add, there's a couple hundred calories for a couple tablespoons. Again, if you're looking at lower calories, there's nothing wrong with the PB2, the PB Fit, because they do press out a lot of oil. So, and it's like 60 calories.
Yeah.
So again, I have to know my audience. I have to know what your goals are.
Okay. Interesting.
Maybe just less ingredients.
Oh, yeah, yes, definitely
On a general
an
scale.
ingredient list. Yeah, less is best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Less is best.
And if you could understand the ingredients, I'm assuming that's probably important
Right,
too.
right.
Sometimes I look
Well-
at things and I'm like, what is that?
We'll go look at two different
idea.
peanut butters. If you looked at Smucker's Natural, it's peanuts and salt. If you looked at Jif, you've got, hydrogenated oil, palm oil, salt, sugar. I think they might molasses. So
There's a lot of things in
Yeah.
there. Yeah. And your taste buds will adjust.
oh, it tastes like peanuts. It's so good. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
see, I think there's sugar added to so many things, or some form of sugar, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are
Absolutely.
addicted to it because, man, I'll taste one thing. It's interesting. So I like wheat thins. I buy the off-brand, but recently I was like, okay, let me get the reduced sodium ones. So the first time I put one in my mouth, I was like,
Yeah.
Now I'm okay with
Right.
it. Like now I'm okay, and I just have to watch my portion control, which is
Right.
probably a
Well,
big
look at
thing
the
too.
label.
And
Count 'em out.
And I'm just like, man, like some of the it's taken me a little bit. Years and years ago, I did a diet program, and xylitol was the sugar, kind of like replacement.
Yeah.
And so, but it was interesting to me because as I was eliminating like the high sugar content things from what I was eating, I noticed that suddenly like I could eat a strawberry and it tasted so much sweeter to me.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
getting rid of the artificial sweetener, like, I could eat an apple on that diet. You could eat as many apples as you wanted.
Right.
And I could eat an apple, and it was like that would satisfy like a sugar craving for me, which I need to go back to that because
Well,
it's not how I am right now.
I know, it's interesting because one of the questions you had for me was like, well, barriers to a balanced diet, and what would be the easiest
Yeah.
to overcome one of these barriers. And I think looking at what we drink in a day, beverages, write them down. Are you drinking
want to.
coffee with flavored creamer and sugar? Are you drinking hot chocolate, apple juice, orange juice, chai, a latte, Powerade, Gatorade, Red Bull, Monster, beer, light beer, wine, milk? What are we drinking? And it is eye-opening, the amount of sugar and extra calories. Is it Coke? Is it Dr. Pepper, Capri Sun? If we read our labels and figure out how much added sugar we're eating in a day. The American Heart Association recommends that men limit their added sugar to 9 teaspoons a day, and women and children 6 teaspoons a day.
That's so low.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll give you an example.
Oh my goodness.
So say you have a 20-ounce Coke. So we're going to look at the label and it says added sugar 65 grams. Well, we divide those grams by 4 so we can get teaspoons.
Okay. Divide grams by 4 to get teaspoons.
Teaspoons,
Okay.
and people know what a teaspoon is generally. 16.25 teaspoons of sugar in a 20-ounce Coke. Okay, so we've
have
blown that out of the water,
really
right?
blown that.
We've blown our guidelines
And
out
that's
of the
just
water.
one.
That is one Coke. A medium sweet tea from McDonald's, about 12 teaspoons of sugar. And people go back. I mean, I know not too many people eat in the restaurants anymore, but if you're eating at a sit-down restaurant, they're going to keep coming
You're
and coming
refilling.
and coming. Maybe
With
not.
with any carbonated beverages, I mean, really the only refill drink you need is your water.
Yeah, absolutely. A Starbucks caramel frappuccino, that's about 15 teaspoons
Oh my gosh.
of sugar.
So basically, you save those things for special occasions and not all the time.
Yeah. And people, I know that they love their soft drinks. So I'll say, well, maybe we can try some flavored carbonated water. There are some prebiotic sodas out now, like the Olipop and the Poppies.
Those, they're good.
You like them?
I do.
So it's about they typically have less than a teaspoon of sugar and only 35 calories. So I mean,
So what about your artificial sweeteners? Because you have, diet sodas, you have zero sugar sodas, those sorts of things.
it all means the same thing. It's the same.
Okay, so when you're looking at your sugar content, it does
That's not going to have sugar, but are we saying that's good for us?
yeah,
I'm not.
still not
I'm
good
not a
for you,
fan.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So because I know a lot of times people think they're like, well, I can have my
Diet
Coke or my Pepsi or whatever it may be, whatever the beverage might be, as long as I'm drinking the diet or the zero sugar version. So from a dietitian perspective, you're saying it doesn't matter which one you're drinking, it's still not healthy for you.
It's not healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
It's
still
not,
better off
yes.
to avoid it.
What about stevia?
No, I don't mind stevia because it is plant-based.
Okay.
It's a little aftertaste, so it might be an adjustment.
Yeah.
But, like the Oikos 000, that has some stevia.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
I like it too. And, pick your poison. I don't want artificial.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay.
It's interesting with the soda thing. That was just reminding me. A few years ago, I was one of our other dietitians had at our wellness and diabetes center was at a health fair that Iredell had a booth at, and she had bottles of popular drinks and the sugar packets attached to them. And I remember they just were just
spilling
taped
over.
together and they're spilling over the table. And my daughter was with me at that time. She's 13 now. And then she was probably maybe 10 at that point. And it was very eye-opening to her because she was just like, wow,
Yeah, you
this
need
is
a
that
visual.
visual representation. We'll have to find something like that and post it on our social pages so people can see that visual
Absolutely.
representation because it is eye-opening.
It's
That's
amazing.
for sure.
Amazing.
Makes me think about. I was like, I had soda yesterday, and I was like, I wonder how much sugar was in that.
Yes.
Probably a good 16 teaspoons. And
Probably.
And like I said, the average American, they'll have 17 teaspoons of added sugar daily. That's
17 teaspoons. And women
that's
are
the
only supposed to have 6.
Yes.
Men 9.
Yeah.
And
Children,
children are
6.
6? Okay. Now, that children age goes from whatever
say
up to like
children and
18?
teens.
Children and teens. Okay.
Not a lot.
Wow.
So you said, you know, maybe some carbonated water that has a splash of fruit juice in it or something like that maybe as an alternative.
Yeah, there are a ton. You know, the bubbly. Be careful. Some have caffeine. You know.
Yeah.
So you got to read. But the LaCroix are fine. The bubbly, Waterloo.
Yeah.
If you like them. Some people do not, but I mean, it's an option.
Right.
It's
I
an
think I
option.
just like the bubbles.
Yeah, some people do just like
So-
carbonated.
Very cool. So if we're thinking long term, so you talked about some things you can do. So meal prepping, looking at your sugar content and reading your labels.
Yes.
What are some other things that we could do?
So, I mean, I would say, you know, be goal oriented,
Okay.
but set SMART goals. And that's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Okay.
Okay.
SMART goals. That way you can track your progress. You know, say if it's weight loss, like I want to lose 2 pounds in 1 week. Well, that's achievable. It's measurable. You put a time frame on there. You can track your food intake just to keep you on track. Obviously, you can either
idea.
go old school and use a food journal, or you can use an app.
I guess people don't really realize what they're eating.
Right.
exactly.
It's eye-opening. I've tracked my food before and been like, oh, I had no idea there were that many calories in that or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's just the extra sugar and calories that we get, it just leads to obesity. Obesity we lead to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all kinds of health risks.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
It
amazing.
starts
And
with
if
your
we-
nutrition, right?
Yeah.
You
And if we-
adjust that and you can
Right.
impact positively the other health outcomes.
Right. And if you are seeing some progress, like focus on the positive aspects, like, oh gosh, I have less joint pain.
Yeah.
I've got more energy. I can breathe better. Maybe you'll want to celebrate some small wins, but with non-food rewards. Like I like to buy tennis shoes.
Oh, heck yeah.
Get yourself
Yes!
a pair of tennis shoes, right?
Shoe shopping.
Tennis shoes. We're going to do, you know, so we can be
Something
active.
that you can be active with, yes.
Yes.
And I think variety is definitely key to a balanced diet. Definitely. If we get bored too easily, like we eat the same thing and the same thing, we give up,
Yep.
or we're more quickly to give up. So let's have a diverse range of fruits and vegetables, your whole grains, your lean proteins, your healthy fats. Like I had a patient yesterday, it was great. She said, oh, Michelle, I tried lemon plums. I was like, awesome, I want to try those too. They have them at Food Line.
What's a lemon
I don't know
plum?
what a lemon
It's
plum
just
is.
a cross between a lemon and a plum. But she said she tasted more plum than citrus.
Okay.
But something like that.
So be
Or-
adventurous. Try those new fruits and veggies.
right.
And
You might add a tofu to your stir fry. You might try avocado oil instead of a vegetable oil. Maybe it's a cooking method. Maybe you'll finally get out that Instapot and put some, lentils in there, some dried beans, and try that. Or your air fryer. We just can't do the same thing all the time.
so
I think
little
variety is key.
changes. Variety, little changes.
Right.
My biggest takeaway is meal prep.
Yeah.
I've got a plan, and that meal prep has to be things that are healthier options
Right,
too. Because
right.
meal prep probably goes out the window. Like I guess the importance of it goes out the window to some degree if I'm meal prepping and it's not healthy food that I'm meal prepping.
Yeah.
So
Or you
finding a balance.
It's balance. That's
Yeah.
right.
overzealous and you're like, I'm going to have all broccoli and boiled chicken. You're not going to
Right.
eat that.
And then by
No.
day 2, you're like, I can't put another piece of broccoli in my mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yeah. So
But be a little adventurous.
Little adventurous.
But you kind of listen to your body and focus kind of like, what are my hunger cues? It takes your stomach 15 minutes to let your brain know there's food in there. You know how much food we can eat in 15 minutes? We can cram it in. That's called a stomach ache.
Yeah, see, that's probably why, like, a little bit after you eat, sometimes you're like, oh, I overate. Like, I don't feel so good.
Right. And
so 15 minutes.
15 minutes. And I've done little mindful eating exercises with some of my patients and little support groups. But it's interesting. We have to slow down and savor our food, engage our senses, taste, touch, smell, feel it. And
Really enjoy
just
it.
enjoy it. And I always end with eat till you're satisfied, not till you're stuffed.
Yes. Eat till you're satisfied, not until you're stuffed. Well, thank you, Michelle. We are out of time. We could talk about this that was so fast.
Okay,
So
great.
we really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you having me.
So Michelle works at Iredell Health System with us, and you can find her if you are ever a cardiac rehab patient or an oncology patient at radiation therapy.
Yes.
And we were excited to have you. Thanks so much for coming. And eating healthy might not be as difficult as you thought it was. So thanks for joining us on this episode of Inspire Iredell. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you. Bye.
The content here is for informational and educational purposes only, not for medical advice. Consult your qualified healthcare professional for specific health concerns and questions.